I'm just about to program my first version of Monopoly. I've been writing computer AI games for almost 10 years now, and I started with games with no chance at all, right? Chess, shogi, checkers, Chinese chess. Um, I don't like games of chance because at the tournament, um, there's obviously a limited number of matches that can be played. I always get very unlucky with the games of chance. But given what's happening with the economic climate, it's brought me back to Monopoly. I've been playing it quite a bit, and I'm ready to program it to see what happens. So I was reviewing the official rules of the game. There's so many variations. I want to make sure I get the official original rules correctly. And I saw something in the official rules that looks very familiar. The bank never goes broke. If the bank runs out of money, the banker may issue as much money as may be needed by writing on any ordinary paper, right? Oh, that looks very familiar, right, in our economic climate, doesn't it? And the results in Monopoly also look very familiar, right? Especially if you use one of those house rules where you put money into the free parking, and when somebody lands on it, they collect all the money. And obviously, they start buying property. They buy it from other players. What's the end result? Well, hyperinflation, right? At least if the bank collects money and destroys it, like how the original rules say, that doesn't happen nearly as fast, right? But people they love big money, right? It's very hard for the game to conclude when money keeps circulating, right? Well, technically, one reason Monopoly has a little bit of a the one thing that dampens the hyperinflation is that the rents don't actually compete, right? They're fixed on whatever the cards say, right? But if rent could be increased or decreased, so the end result would be even worse hyperinflation, right? We do have a little bit of price fixing, a price ceiling here in Monopoly, right? I'll have to think about how to introduce the idea of hyperinflation into Monopoly in a variation, right? Right now, as I'm speaking, we're talking about a second round of stimulus checks, right? The HEROES Act is what they call it. The first act was called the CARES Act, right? The COVID Aid and Relief Economic Security, I believe. HEROES was what? Health and Emergency Relief. I think Omnibus was in there. Economic stimulus or something like that, right? And they want to send everybody, I think this time including children, $1,200 checks. The last round, apparently, I received it, so I'm not sure who it excluded. I think if you were a dependent, even if you were over 18, I'm not sure. They want to retroactively include those people as well. So some people may be getting two checks if the latest HEROES Act passes. Obviously, there's a extension in unemployment. People who are traditionally not eligible if they were a gig worker, and also there was a $600 bonus, which is crazy if you think about it. Let's get out the calculator. Right now there's a huge backlog. Some of my friends have been waiting since March for their unemployment, and I'm a little bit worried that when they get it, they won't be able to buy anything. And here's why. We have, apparently on paper, we have 40 million unemployed, right? That's just how many people have applied, right? There's probably a whole lot more, right? Times 600 a week. And if we annualize that, right, if this were to go on for a year, which is not all that unrealistic, right? 1.248 trillion, and that's just base money, right? When it gets into the fractional reserve lending system, that's just well, I'll let you look at the rule on Monopoly. Try to imagine in the middle of a Monopoly game if one player decided to issue like 10 times the amount of money that was available on the Monopoly board to begin with, and assume that the rents could go up as well, right? Unfortunately, Monopoly doesn't allow for that. I'll have to think about a rule variation. I want to have a rule set for Monopoly that actually demonstrates hyperinflation every time you play, because so many people can't seem to wrap that around their heads. Thanks for watching.